Okay, welcome everybody. We've gone live, but we're going to give it about one more minute before we start the program, just to give everybody an opportunity to situate themselves on Zoom. We're pleased to have you here. Okay, welcome everybody. I'm going to give it another minute or so. My clock says 11:59, so I don't want to shortchange anybody who by starting early before noon. We'll give it another minute for people to join. Thanks for being here. As we're waiting, I'll just mention that please feel free to use the Q&A liberally. We will be monitoring that and give you an opportunity, even though this is a webinar format, we'll give you an opportunity to come on screen and ask questions of Mr. Al-Dosari as we go. So we'll be monitoring that, but you can use either the chat or Q&A, but Q&A is probably preferred. Okay, it's noon, so I'm going to kick off the event. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Welcome to all of our guests. I'm Andrea Durkin, and I'm the president of the Washington, D.C. chapter of Women in International Trade. We are the largest global chapter of the Organization of Women in International Trade, which is known as OWIT. And I'm really delighted to say that we've grown over the last year to 750 individual members, along with corporate and embassy members, of which the state of Qatar, the embassy of the state of Qatar is one. We're grateful for that. We've been very grateful for the opportunity to partner with the embassy on this event. And also I want to mention another event coming up on March 9th for International Women's Day involving the embassy, the US Qatar Business Council, as well as the Qatari Business Women Association. And for that event, we're going to be showcasing the important and evolving role of women in Qatar's economy. So sign up through our website, wit.org. It's open to non-members, and I think it's going to be a really special and wonderful program. So with that, allow me to introduce Mr. Fahad Al-Dosari. Thank you, Mr. Al-Dosari, for joining us from Doha today. Mr. Al-Dosari is the first commercial attaché of the state of Qatar to the United States. He assumed this post in 2019 as part of an initiative under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry designed to increase trade and investment opportunities between the state of Qatar and the United States. Mr. Al-Dosari previously served in the Department of International Cooperation at the Commerce Ministry, where he participated in Gulf Cooperation Council trade negotiations with China. I'm looking forward to hearing more about that experience. And he also served on delegations from Qatar to Singapore and to the European Free Trade Association to review free trade agreements, and has represented Qatar in trade policy reviews at the WTO, where he also has received many professional certificates in international commerce. Mr. Fahad Al-Dosari graduated from the American University in Dubai with a degree in business management. Our moderator today is Lila Afis, Director for International Public Policy at Toyota Motor North America. Lila also serves as our Chair for Africa and Middle East Programming at WIT. I know you're going to be touching on a variety of interesting topics, from your priorities as commercial attaché to the commercial impact of renewed Gulf relations to the World Cup even. So Lila, I am happy to turn the program over to you at this point.
Thank you so much, Andrea. And Mr. Al-Dosari, please allow me to also welcome you and to thank you for sharing your time and insight with us today. And so to sort of kick things off, as Andrea eloquently stated, you are the very first commercial attaché for the state of Qatar. So could you just describe to us, what that is? What does your role entail? And how are you finding things, sort of given our current state of virtual everything in Washington?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to join you today. And greeting from Doha. It's a pleasure to join the Association of Women in International Trade in this conversation. And before I begin, I would like to express my sincere appreciation for both WITS President, Ms. Andrea Durkin, and WITS Africa and Middle East Chair, Ms. Laila Afas, for inviting me to participate today. I very much appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much. To answer your question, like other commercial officers around the world, my main focus is, as a commercial attaché, my main focus is to facilitate trade between countries and to look for commercial opportunities between the US and Qatar. Given that United States is the most important economic partner for Qatar, I compliment the embassy efforts to strengthen the two nations' bilateral relationship from a commercial perspective. Also, I connect US companies interested in doing business in Qatar with relevant entities in Qatar, like Qatar Financial Center and Investment Promotion Agency of Qatar, IPQ, and Qatar Free Zones Authority, QFZA. And also, in addition to monitor the trade stats and exports between countries, this is my daily tasks and routine to mainly monitor the commercial relation between the countries and work hard to find ways to attract companies to come to Qatar and to explore the business environment in Qatar. In terms of the US counterparts, I work closely with the Department of Commerce, USTR, and we partner with different agencies and business associations like yours to promote Qatar and highlight its value in terms of doing business.
Well, that's very exciting, and hopefully there are many opportunities to increase economic ties before both of our countries. And I had the privilege of spending a lot of time in Doha, actually, in my career prior to joining Toyota, and I worked a lot in the Middle East and North Africa. And I find that most people don't realize it's the location of the original city center. And Washingtonians in particular are not aware of the role that the Qatari Investment Authority played in building the city center in downtown DC. So could you share a little bit about that?
Sure. First, it's good news that you've been in Qatar. So allow me to take the chance to to switch the seats now and ask you about Qatar. How did you find Qatar? I always eager to hear about Qatar through others' perspective and see Qatar through others' eyes, especially non-Qataris. So please share your experience in Qatar.
It's pristine. I mean, it's just such a clean city, and everybody was so incredibly friendly and welcoming. If I ever hesitated when I was entering a building for a meeting, they would go out of their way to make sure I knew how to get to the location. And the restaurant scene is fantastic. I mean, I wish I could eat dinner more than once a day, because it was just so many fabulous options. And the architecture, I love architecture, is beautiful. But I think the thing that I enjoyed the most was the Museum of Art, of Culture and Art History. And it's just exquisite artifacts and art dating back centuries, and also contemporary art as well, which was incredibly impressive and well curated exhibit. So I really enjoyed that, along with the marina.
Yeah, definitely. There are so many options to enjoy Qatar now, especially museum, as you highlighted. And you are welcome to come and visit Qatar whenever it's safe to travel. People from around the world choose Qatar to work, study, and raise their families. This is because Qatar is truly welcoming country. We are a population of 2.8, almost 3 million people. 90% of them are expats. So that shows you that how welcoming we are, and we enjoy being around other cultures, we take that chance to learn from them and benefit from their experiences. So I think Qatar is a place that a good start for business, a gateway to the Middle East that is always welcoming, and there is a lot of opportunities here for US companies, especially because, as I mentioned, US is the most important economic partner for Qatar. So I kindly encourage all the esteemed members to come and visit Qatar whenever it's safe to travel. Answering your question about city center DC. First, I thank you for mentioning that amazing investment. I'm really proud of it. It's amazing that when you pass by it and say, you can say that it's a Qatari investment. I feel pride, and the city center itself, and including the hotel, Conrad Washington, are Qatari investments. QIA Real Estate Investment Company, DR, invested around $700 million in that project, and they own 90% of the project. As I said, it's my favorite place to go, and it's my favorite, my wife's favorite place to shop. I don't know how to feel about that.
I agree with your wife. No, it's great. I think Montclair is getting a lot of business during this cold season. Well, switching gears a bit, it's really interesting time for you to start this. It's a new role, new position for the embassy, and we of course have a new administration here in America. And you know, for the first month or so that President Biden has been in office, he's made clear that his priorities are combating COVID, rebuilding the U.S. economy in the wake of the pandemic, and of course, clean energy. And so, do you think there are opportunities for Qatar to help the new administration sort of achieve these goals, whether it's working with the government, working with companies, but also could you explain the impact that COVID has had on the Qatar economy as well?
Mm-hmm. First, mentioning those three topics, COVID, energy, and climate, are literally the things that Qatar is focusing on. So I see a clear synergy between the two countries and what they are focusing on. So definitely we are on the same page with the new administration and always complementing their efforts. Let me shed some light on the COVID response from the government. To date, Qatar has recorded under 260 COVID-related deaths, which is the lowest mortality rate in the region, and nearly 51,000 recoveries. And this is due to the government response, immediate response, early after 1 year of the pandemic. We can see the outcomes of how the government responded immediately with closing for a bit to adjust and learn from others, and immediately put some guidance and requirements for businesses. And soon after they opened again because of the low rate of infections. So to keep the business going on and to keep the business environment not disrupted by the pandemic. So I think that that response from the government helped us in being in this good shape right now. Also, the liquidity and years of planning gave us a buffer to withstand the tension caused by the pandemic. So that also gave us time to think and learn from others, to adjust and make our environment work and our businesses open again. We also recently launched the Corona vaccine program. When Pfizer vaccine arrived to the country last December, and recently Moderna joined the program. So we expect to have enough vaccines to cover our entire population by the end of 2021. So I think this is the response from the government, and their planning is giving outcomes that benefiting the business environment in Qatar. I can say that Qatar is now a business environment friendly for all businesses to come and practice their businesses. Almost most of the businesses are open. Employees are back to the offices, 80%. So I think we are in good shape in that regard. However, despite the economic difficulties, of course, Qatar is no exception. All countries have been affected by the COVID, but I think we found our ways around to mitigate the impact of the COVID, and we succeeded in numbers. Now, if you compare numbers in the region, we have the lowest mortality rate, we have highest rate of recovery, lowest rate of infections cases. So I think in regards to COVID, we are in a good shape.
Well, that's wonderful to hear, and really stunning to think that 80% of workers are back on site. That's incredible considering where we are here in the United States. So then nice to hear some encouraging news on anything related to COVID. Turning now, I don't want to wade too deep into geopolitical waters, but I would love to learn your thoughts on how Qatar is rebounding economically with the renewed relations with the other Gulf countries, especially given your role working with the Gulf Cooperation Council, or GCC, previously, and how will Doha really capitalize on the lifting of the embargo and work with your Gulf neighbors? As all of you, and it looks like Qatar may be in a better position than its neighbors, but are trying to boost economic growth as you come back online after COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely January 5th was a remarkable day. No one wants conflict or tension, especially between neighbors. So speaking from a commercial perspective, that blockade has caused disruption to the trade. So we support free trade and trade movement and removing barriers for trade. So that was a good news. But at the same time, we took that period to learn, to make ourselves better in terms of sufficiency. So we grow our food now. We hire our capacity in dairy product, for example. So we will work hard on our infrastructure. We built a new port. We expanded the airport. We work on the highways, tunnels. So it was a tough time, but at the same time, it was a good chance, a good opportunity to work internally in our country and make it as a better place for doing business. So I think Qatar now in a better position to be a hub for reaching the Middle East and neighboring markets. And with the lifting of the blockade, now you can have access on the land border through Qatar. So now we have the full package, as they say. You have the new infrastructure, you have all the neighboring countries open their borders, so you can do business freely from Qatar and reaching almost a third of the world around us. So it's a huge positive point to be positioned here in Qatar.
Well, I have to say when the embargo was first announced, it wasn't clear that that would be the result, but that's really terrific news. And, sticking with trade, what are your priorities for trade and investment in your role now here in the United States, and other particular industries that you're targeting?
As I mentioned, I'm always looking for opportunities to attract companies to come to Qatar and benefit from the infrastructure, from the free zone, from the new entities that is doing their best to attract companies. And as I mentioned, US is the most important economic partner. So we take good care of US companies when they come here. So we give them good packages, and we try to accommodate them as much as we can, and we design packages for them to use Qatar as a hub and reach neighboring countries. So I think that's the most significant point of dealing with US companies. And I must say that Qatar-US economic partnership remains robust and indeed stronger than ever. Qatar invested billions of dollars in the US, and at the same time, the US has been an integral investor in Qatar and in Qatar's development. So our economic partnership is worth an estimated $200 billion. Together, our bilateral trade and investment translate into tens of thousands of high-wage jobs and present life-changing opportunities for our people. We look forward always to expanding upon these ties, including through upcoming trade and investment promotion events. These events will include an economic roadshow in 2021, which is under preparation now by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, in addition to different entities like QFC, QFZA, IPAQ, and others that are interested in attracting US companies to do business in Qatar. Also, this roadshow, the main focus of this roadshow is to give an idea about Qatar and explore commercial partnership opportunities and investment from the US side in Qatar, especially in emerging technology, finance, sports, pharmaceuticals, aviation, and other key industries.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you mentioned earlier about the population of Qatar and the expats, and it really just a wealth of expertise in engineering and computer science right there in country. Speaking about US-Qatar relations, what is the status of the official US-Qatar dialogues? And although the Biden administration has said repeatedly that they are not interested in pursuing free trade agreements until they sort of combat the pandemic and get our economy back on track, what are the prospects for a future deal between the US and Qatar?
Mm-hmm. We, as you know, we held our third dialogue last September in Washington and signed a memorandum of understanding on education, culture, and sports, in addition to a statement of intent designating to 2021 as the US-Qatar Year of Culture, and an announcement of intent for Qatar to host an investment forum in the United States this year as well. Plans are still underway for the investment forum in light of the pandemic. However, our government officially launched our Year of Culture last January 15th. In terms of the free trade agreement, we understand that the position of the US government, and we fully understand that it's not maybe the right time, but we hope that because we think that it's a next step for our relation after having all those investment and bilateral relation commercially. So we think it's logically the next step to our partnership to have that free trade agreement. And we already had so many meetings preparing for this idea to put on a place as an action. But we will pursue this, and we will continue to negotiate and held meeting about doing this as soon as it's the right time to do that.
That's great. And I guess the only other Gulf country the U.S. has an FTA with right now is Oman. So hopefully you can open the door to even more trade in the region.
Oman and Bahrain, I think.
And Bahrain, yes, thank you, Bahrain. That's right. So you can, you know, you can be the next one, right? Exactly. Well, you know, Andrea, when she introduced you, mentioned your background working on trade with China. And of course, here in the US, what started as a trade war with Beijing has really emerged into a tech war. And given that, and sort of where you are located geographically, as well as economically and politically, how has the US-China trade / tech war impacted Qatar? And is there a silver lining that you see for a unique role that you can play as the two giants sort of battle this out?
I think not just Qatar, the whole world wants this war to end. No one wants any tension, any disturbance of trade, because as WTO members, we support the free trade and removing barriers to trade. So Qatar and the whole world, I think, wants to see the US and China reach an agreeable resolution of this tension. The United States and for Qatar, we have a good, as I mentioned so many times right now, we have a good relation economically with the US. And at the same time, we export for China. So we want to see them resolve this tension to get back to normal and do business with all countries around the world, as Qatar is an integral part in this trade globally.
That will be interesting with Catherine Tai's hearing to be the next U.S. trade representative tomorrow. I'm sure she'll get lots of questions on how she plans to approach China, especially with the Section 301 tariffs and other things. So many eyes will be watching that hearing. Well, turning to something fun, the FIFA World Cup, and actually the reason I would spend so much time in Doha was working on projects related to the World Cup, particularly in the clean energy and power space. You know, I think everybody would really just love to be back in the stadiums cheering on their teams. Hopefully with the vaccination rollouts, we'll be in that position to do so. But what are your plans as of now for the World Cup, since it is next year? And any contingencies in place, or how are you, taking into account what Tokyo is going through right now as they decide whether they're going to move forward with the Olympics this summer?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Qatar is ready to host the 2022 FIFA World Cup. We went ahead and finished most of our stadium ahead of the schedule. And we will, in fact, have our stadium operating at 100% capacity. Of course, there will be, we have invested heavily in state-of-the-art technology for health and safety of players and fans. Like in 2020, the Doha Diamond League, which is an annual outdoor track and field meeting, was the first global tournament attended by 117 global participants during the pandemic. So that gives you an idea that Qatar is ready to host any tournament or sport event even during the hardest time like this time. And this year, Qatar will host more than 60 sporting events, which will give us plenty of opportunity to employ best practice for the World Cup in 2022. So we take this opportunity to learn and adjust, and of course, to reach 2022 with the best result and best practice for keeping the safety of players and fans and all the visitors to Qatar.
Well, that's exciting, and I would love to be there personally as a former soccer player myself. So I look forward to that. I'm just going to alert our audience that after this next question, we will open up to Q&A. I see some things popping, and I will ask Mary to come help me go through some of your questions. But this last one that I'll ask Mr. Al-Dosari, who's been incredibly generous with your responses today, is to turn the attention to women. And of course, our audience is members of Women International Trade. So this is a topic very near and dear to their hearts. And I think they would love to learn what role women play in Qatar's economy. And, you know, as somebody, you know, my father's Lebanese, my husband's Moroccan, I've spent a lot of time working throughout the Middle East and Africa. There's a perception that women aren't very involved. And I always like to remind people there are actually more female entrepreneurs in the Middle East than there are in America, which surprises many people. But could you explain to us what role they're doing, and maybe give us a teaser for the International Women's Day event that we're going to do together next month?
Yeah, sure. I was gonna start by saying that I'm so excited about the upcoming event. I personally took this project. I took the lead in that project because I really believe in women power, and I believe that Qatari women deserve to be seen in a different perspective because they are participating a lot in the country, and they are taking a leader role in Qatar. As you mentioned, there are so many entrepreneurs in the Middle East right now, and there are the Middle East and North Africa, MENA region as a whole is a home to a large group of female entrepreneurs and businesswomen. Qatar has initiatives in place to increase women entrepreneurship and opportunities to succeed in the labor force. For example, almost 60% of Qatar's labor force is female, which is constitute the highest rate in the Arab world. So this is something exciting about Qatari women. Similarly,
that's higher than America too, by the way.
Sorry?
I said that's higher than America as well, but no, please continue.
Wow, good. Let's put that in our upcoming event. Let's highlight that. So there are 20%, 21% of female Qatari workforce is in leadership position. So they are participating in high percentage in the workforce, and also they are in a leadership position. Moreover, the economic participation rate for Qatari women of prime working age, 35 to 39, is 70%. So young women, independent leaders, what's not so excited about it? That's why I took that project, and I fully supported, and I'm so excited about having the upcoming event. In terms of education, Qatar is succeeding at leveling the playing field for female students. Over 20 years ago, the idea of Education City was convinced to create a place of opportunities for all. Today, the thriving campus is home to 9 universities, including 6 American universities, 11 schools, and a student body where women represent the majority. In fact, female students in Qatar are far like to enroll in traditionally male-dominated STEM field than their counterpart in the West. For example, Qatar's percentage of female engineering student is double that of the US, uh, which is which was of for the country's 2030 vision. Our national vision is to empower all the population and to get them in a higher education. So now we have females engineers, pilots, doctors. So we have so many, they are participating in all sectors of the community and they are leading in their participation. So yeah, as I said, I'm so excited about the upcoming event. Hopefully you will see new examples, something maybe different than what's the stereotype about the female in the Middle East. And I'm happy that we are partnering with you guys to help us give this message about Qatar and women in the Middle East in general.
Well, that is really just so inspiring to hear. And I can't wait for our event on International Women's Day. And, you know, it's just before we turn to Q&A, Mary, I just wanted to say that unfortunately, sort of the challenges we have with women in the workforce here in America have been exacerbated by the COVID pandemic. In fact, labor statistics show that all of the 140,000 jobs that were lost in December were jobs that women held. And so economists are now starting to call it a she-cession as jobs that are traditionally male dominated in the US begin to come back, but unfortunately it's unclear when those jobs for women will. So don't want to, put dark clouds out there on your inspiring story, but Mary, if we could turn to Q&A, could you let us know what's in the chat?
Yes, absolutely. So our first question comes from Christine Davies, and her question is, she understands that you help Qatari entities explore investment opportunities across the United States, and she'd like to know which states do you find have the friendliest laws and programs in place that welcome foreign investment?
Sorry, your question is about Qataris investing in the US?
Yes, and which US states do you think, maybe Mary, if I could paraphrase, are the most attractive from an FDI perspective? Is that the gist of it?
Yes.
So you got to play favorites here, Mr. Sorry.
It's a hard position to be, but luckily that QIA is handling the investment here in the United States. So whenever I get questions from Qataris want to invest in the United States, I defer them to the QIA. They have a better understanding of the environment in the United States. And as they say, that you can't go wrong with the United States. Every state is a good place to invest. And Qatar is always participating in the Select USA Summit. And we see it as a good opportunity to learn more and to see new opportunities. Every year we discover something new about the United States, and all the states are great. I can't name one of them.
Well said. Mary, are there other questions?
Yes, there are several more. The next question is, what does trade and investment in Africa look like now that Qatar, with these changes, with its relations and its immediate neighbors?
Investment in Africa?
Yes.
You mean the Qatar investment there?
Yes.
Again, it's Qatar Investment Authority who is handling that. And I can't speak on their behalf, but they are very active around the world. They are expanding their investment. But the United States remains the main attraction for them, and the most investment of the Qatar Investment Authority is in the United States.
All right, wonderful. Moving to the next one, this is quite interesting. Given that you've rebounded so well from the virus, how do you think Qatar could assist the U.S. in our fight against COVID?
Sorry again?
Given that Qatar has rebounded from COVID so well, how do you think your country can help assist the U.S. in their fight against COVID?
Mhm. I think every country is different case. COVID has affected all countries, but we can definitely help by what we did already by donating to non-profit organizations to make the most affected businesses work again and to mitigate the effect of the COVID. But the government of the United States is doing their best to handling the COVID. And I think with the time, those efforts will see good results.
Wonderful, thank you. The next question is asking about the current status and your perspective on Qatar's Petroleum's North Field expansion project.
North Field expansion project. I can maybe get back to you on that question to give a proper answer, because currently I don't have the exact status of that project. So I'll be happy to get back to you on this question.
Mary, before you go to the next audience question, if I could take moderator's privilege to ask another. Which is the largest, what are the largest sectors of US investment in Qatar right now? And of course we have Al-Udeid, which is the largest US military base in the region. But beyond that, what areas do US investors tend to concentrate on within the Qatari economy?
Oil and gas is the main focus of the US companies. They are working in the North Field, as the previous question was asking about. North Field is the largest gas field in the world. So they are focusing on participating in that project. This is their main focus on investment, but we are trying to diversify their participation in the country by inviting SMEs and maybe business-owned, women business-owned, and minority. So we are trying to diversify the portfolio of the US companies in the country. And hopefully we will reach good results soon when the pandemic gone. So I'm really hopeful that there will be a response from the companies to come and choose Qatar to do business.
Yeah, that would be great. And I was wondering if the World Cup sort of provided opportunities to attract diversified investment outside of the traditional oil and gas sector.
Of course, we always try to promote other sectors. Like we did a lot of webinars last year to promote agriculture, fintech. We promote new technology. We promote hospitality, also tourism. So there are a lot of sectors that the US companies can participate and join Qatar and its development and creating the best business environment to other companies to come.
Yeah, and I think that's the fact that Qatar's rating and the ease of doing business has gone up very much higher. And so I think again, as you talked about earlier, the sort of support that you provide to American investors and companies looking to enter the region and use Qatar as a gateway. You provide tremendous support for them to do just that. And Mary, if we could maybe go to the next audience question.
Certainly. The next question is about what percentage of investment do you have for renewable energy in transportation?
About the exact percentage, I'm afraid that I don't have that percentage, but it's part of our national vision to always give priority for these kind of sectors and to reach our knowledge-based economy. So we always give priority to those sectors.
Wonderful. There's another question about how you've developed your agricultural sector and become self-sufficient in just a few years. How was that able to happen so quickly?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, actually, because we were in a hard position, as you know. We were blockaded by neighboring countries, and we thought we need to act fast. We did something unique. We flown cows from the United States to Qatar. They came by air, by planes to Qatar. That was the most shocking and amazing way to react to the loss of the dairy product in the market. And right now we succeeded in self-sufficiency in dairy product, and we are looking to export. So that was just an example of how we reacted to the hard position that we were in. And as I mentioned during the meeting, it was an opportunity for us to learn and to come up with solutions that may be out of the box. And that was, I think, the most creative way to come up with the solution to solve the problem.
That's wonderful. Thank you. The next question is about your perspective on the data center project and maybe what the current status of the data centers expansion is, such as Microsoft.
Of course, Microsoft is good. We appreciate that opportunity, and we value their choosing Qatar to expand and be in Qatar as a cloud hub. That gave us a good feeling that we are on the right track to promote Qatar as a hub for the region, and we feel that we wish to get more companies in that field. And we are excited about all companies, tech companies that help us to be in line with our 2030 vision.
Wonderful. We have a gentleman who I'm going to promote to panelist. Patrick, you've raised your hand and you have a question. Hold on just a moment. Let me promote you to panelist and you can ask your question directly.
Welcome, Patrick.
All right, Patrick, are you there?
Patrick, looks like you're on mute.
Okay, here
We got you. I spoke too soon.
There he comes. He's coming on video too.
I'm cycling. Hold it. Okay, I'm here. Ah, all right. Fahad, how are you? It's good to see you again.
Good to see you again.
Thank
Long
you.
time no see.
It's far too long. I've been stuck in the house since March. Sorry to take up the time, but I wanted to ask a question I think is of great interest to many of the participants. Qatar has been extremely successful in developing new lines of logistics and supplies, and uh, as a result of the blockade. Do you think that Qatar will continue to primarily depend on the new lines of logistics, or will it revert to its more traditional economic and commercial ties with the neighborhood?
I think Qatar always looking for ways to attract more companies and investment to the country. So after we created the best business environment and the state-of-the-art infrastructure, we should look more on other ways to attract the companies. We also work on our legislations and reforms. We we have a lot of opportunities for companies, and we made Qatar easier to start a business in. So I think I'm confident that we have the perfect package for companies to come and set up an office here and do business freely, and they will have the best incentives and package to access, as I said, neighboring markets and do a good business from Qatar.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
Yes, thank you for joining the screen with us, Patrick. Mary, is there another question in the queue?
I've just asked if anyone else would like to raise their hand and join the panel and ask a question.
Ian, I think I actually see one here asking about the Global Climate Change Summit in April that the Biden administration has announced. Of course, April 22nd is Earth Day. And they're really interested in learning about innovative approaches to accessing natural resources and capturing carbon with the ultimate goal of reducing it. And how does Qatar plan to interact or join that discussion?
Yeah, as I mentioned previously today, that we focus on the same topics that the Biden's administration is focusing on. So we look forward to participate in any endeavor related to the climate change and to sustainability issues, green power, and so we are in line with the same topics with the administration, and we feel that we have a lot to share and to learn from participating with the US side.
Yeah, well, let's hope that we can find many ways to work together, because I think the goals are shared amongst countries around the world. And I think we have time for one more question, which I will actually pose to you to round out our conversation. The World Trade Organization finally has a new leader. They have a director general in place, a very exciting news. And given your background in trade and sort of your current role, what are your hopes for what the WTO can accomplish in the near term?
Yeah, so excited about the new leader. Female leader is always something is encouraging. It's a change that we have high hopes on her. So we think we hope that we will see some changes, some movement of stuck topics and issues. But I think the time will prove, and we will see if there is some changes will happen. But I'm excited and really happy about her.
Dr. Okonjo Abiela lives right here in Potomac, Maryland, so up the street from us when you're back in Washington. So until she goes to Geneva, hopefully we'll have an opportunity to meet with her in person. I think she really enjoys hearing from people directly. And likewise, it's such a historic pick to lead the WTO. And I can think of no one better to really provide the leadership that we desperately need in the trade realm right now. So with that, I just wanted to thank you again on behalf of Women in International Trade for sharing your time with us today and giving us such a great picture of the areas of cooperation between the United States and Qatar and the ambitious agenda that you have for your new role. And we get to see you again next month. So we're very much looking forward to that.
Yeah,
Please.
sure. Thank you again for having me. Thank you for the opportunity. It's a great partnership with you. And I'm really excited about the upcoming events, and not one event only. I'm sure that we will have a series of events. We will focus on women, partnership with and entrepreneurship. Hopefully that all the members, and they will invite others to attend our Women's Day event, which will be great. I'm sure about that.
Yes, we're very much looking forward to that. And hopefully many of you who joined us today can also join us on March 8th. So thank you, everyone, and wishing you a great day. And Mr. Al-Dosari, hope to see you very soon.
See you soon. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Wonderful day. Bye.
Thank you, you too. Safe trip back to Washington from Doha.
See you.
Mhm.
Thank you.